Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it's going to be turning a lot warmer as we progress through this upcoming working week. By Thursday we could be seeing temperatures widely into the mid to high 20s as we do see quite a hot air mass move up from the south. Now, unfortunately that hot air mass will only last about 48 hours on our shores and will get swept away. We could see some big thunderstorms in areas further westwards and northwards through Friday, as well as we do see that hot air combined with the instability. And into the weekend it is going to turn a little bit more unsettled with more of a westerly flow moving in, but we're not looking at anything too crazy at this stage. As we head into the long range, look at the GFS, GM, Eastern WF and the ensembles. There are repeated possibilities of warmer and drier weather as we do progress through the rest of August. Definitely a big improvement to what we had through much of the second half of July at least. So yeah, things are looking on the up, and even the GFS today does produce a big European heatwave for the last couple of weeks of August that would extend towards the UK, with parts of France getting embedded under the 20-degree isotherm, which would be incredibly hot if that did come off. So we'll explore all those runs in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, which do like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. And you can see at the moment we've got a few showers around on the live radar, mostly in the north. Again, pretty dotted around, but nothing too crazy associated with them, as we are in between weather systems. We're not primarily under higher pressure, but we're not really near any major low pressure either, so just a few showers, but nothing too crazy. For much of England and Wales, it's a really nice day with plenty of sunshine. Those temperatures getting to around that 20 to 22 degree mark, as the air mass isn't that incredibly warm. Got a bit of heavy rain across the southwest, more persistent rain moving in, and this is a decaying weather front, so it should spread in and give rain and thick cloud for many areas in the next day or so, but we're not going to see anything too heavy associated with it. But it shouldn't be too bad in most regions, just could have a bit of thick cloud around, as I said. The temperatures today around 3 p.m, widely around the 20 to 22 degree mark, especially across eastern parts of England. Again, pretty decent, but compared to what we've had recently, but really in the grand schemes, nothing too crazy. If you progress to the UKV, you can see that rain in the southwest spreading through the rest of this evening, and could give some more persistent rain through tomorrow. Nothing too heavy, just a bit of cloud and some thicker cloud and a bits and bobs of rain. Nothing too much as it is decaying away, but nonetheless still not ideal. As we progress through Tuesday evening, the rest of that rainfall could pep up a little bit as it progresses southwards and eastwards for clearing away. Finally, into Wednesday, we do start to see that warm air waft up from the south, with generally dry conditions prevailing into Thursday, where we do see the proper warm air give us some pretty decent afternoon temperatures. But you can see the thunderstorms start to take off through Thursday evening and mostly through Friday morning into Friday in the north and the west. Could be quite severe in places, and again we'll keep a very close eye on those, as they could cause some issues towards the latter part of the week. Now, the reason for this is because the upper air temperatures are going to be climbing rapidly. Big plume of around mid-teens at 850 HPA progressing in, before eventually getting swept away through Friday afternoon into the evening, and that is causing that very warm 48-hour spell, and very warm and humid 48-hour spell before we see those thunderstorms roll in. So we do have a look at the max temperatures. You can see this afternoon just about getting towards the 20 to 22 degree mark in southern and eastern areas. Will feel a bit warmer because of the increased sunshine. And as we progress into Tuesday, also going to be seeing some alright conditions to the north of the weather front, but under the weather front it will probably feel a bit cool once again, maybe mid-teens, maybe 16, 17 degrees at best. But because it is a decaying weather front, it could be slightly more intense or slightly less intense than the model is anticipating. So we'll have to see how it does progress tomorrow. As we progress into Wednesday, the temperatures will start to climb in the south, widely into the low 20s. Could see a 23 or 24. Not dropping too much overnight into Thursday. Some areas 17 or 18 degrees by Thursday afternoon. The highest temperatures we've seen in quite a while, 26 to maybe as high as 28 degrees. Could locally see maybe a 29, but not thinking anything much higher than that. But a very warm afternoon, very pleasant. Friday could just about see mid-20s again in the far east, but we're seeing that cooler, thundery air move in that is going to sweep it away. But I said, hopefully, as we progress through the rest of August, it's not going to be the only warmer and drier weather we do see. Now, if you run through the GFS, you can see high pressure is starting to build over the coming days with that hotter air mass moving in, but eventually low pressure rumbles in off the Atlantic for the weekend. It is a decaying area of low pressure once again, so it shouldn't give anything too severe in terms of big areas of rainfall, but will give some rain in places and the risk of storms as well, as it does mix in with that hot air mass definitely initially, and that could remain as the low pressure moves through. As we're beyond that, you see no major lows moving in, but we're not under any major high pressure either, so it's kind of in between weather systems, not particularly cold, not particularly warm, but not wet or not bone dry either, kind of just showers and average temperatures. But beyond that, we start to see high pressure building over Europe. We see a bit of a southeasterly flow. They see all these darker reds implying really strong high pressure and really hot air building in. Look at that. Huge swathe of 20 degree isotherm there. And really intense heat developing over northern parts of France. And that would just about try to nudge into the southeast of the United Kingdom. Again, you can't see it too much here, but incredibly hot air is building across France. Look at that, widely mid to high 30s touching 40 degrees, and that air mass is slowly nudging to our shores. So we would start to see the risk of this hot air moving in, but we will have to wait and see how quickly that moves in and how much it will impact our weather beyond that. But that's a very interesting pattern from the GFS, major European heatwave to end August. Now, if you look at the GM, see if that shows anything similar. Again, the southerly flow towards the end of this week, hot air moving in. Eventually, the low pressure moves through, but does take its time. Actually, doesn't mingle around to the north, giving showers in northern areas. But hot air once again does build across Europe. Unfortunately, just about not getting into the UK here, as the wind direction is slightly in the wrong direction. So we can't see that hot air moving in here, but it is building across Europe. And if more favourable conditions do evolve, or more favourable pressure patterns do evolve, we could drag in some of this very hot air. But very interesting seeing that GM not going anything spectacular, actually going slightly below average. But you see the very warm air, above average air, is very close by. If we look at the ECMWF, again, southerly winds moving in, low pressure eventually moving through next week, taking its time, and at day 10, similar pattern to the GFS in terms of building high pressure over the top of us, increasing temperature across Europe. However, it's slightly earlier in that sort of cycle, so here the UK is generally in an average or slightly below average air mass, with the warm air slowly building across Europe and would be nudging its way towards the UK. So Eastern DOF, a very similar overall pressure pattern, just that hot air is nowhere near close by, so it would take a lot longer for any warmer or well above average conditions to evolve. If compared to the ensembles, you can see a big spike in upper air temperatures towards the end of this week, drop below average for a couple of days next weekend, and then beyond that, for most of the middle of August, you can see generally average or slightly above average, with quite a few runs getting up towards that 15 plus degree isotherm level, would give temperatures in the high 20s, or maybe even touching 30 degrees. You can see the operational run here going very hot, and that would be even hotter if we let it evolve further. You see, precipitation isn't insanely high either, so definitely just suggests that there are quite a few ensemble runs producing something with more high pressure. The 2 meter temperatures are more into the low 20s. They've been a lot around the high teens recently, more into the low 20s. So definitely, even if it's not hot, definitely more pleasant rest of August. And the sea level pressure, you can see it's not insanely high, but no huge drops in the near future. No drops below 1,000 millibars, which we have been seeing with the big lows we've had recently, including Storm Antony we saw last week. So yeah, definitely an improving ensemble trend here. And if we compare it to the ECMWF ensembles from the midnight run, again, a spike in upper air temperatures, more towards average, maybe slightly above average, progressing through August, so definite improvements. The only caveat here is that towards the end of this run, definitely more precipitation than the GFS. There are more ensemble members, but definitely more overall precipitation spikes. So ECMWF perhaps keeping more low pressure nearby. And if we have a look at the sea level pressure, see if we see any difference. Nothing miraculously lower, but definitely some lower pressure on soil members at times, giving a little bit more rainfall. So yes, got some very warm weather coming towards the end of this week, really only lasting, two days maybe, two days for many. Wednesday is warming up, becoming humid. Thursday is going to be quite a widely warm, even hot day in some places, again very humid. And Friday will be very humid in the east, but not elsewhere. So that's what we're looking for the rest of the week. Beyond that, slightly cooler through the weekend. But as we progress into the following week, things could start to turn warmer again. And the risk is for something a bit warmer, maybe even hotter and drier into the second half of August. Even something like the GFS run there with a European heatwave cannot be ruled out. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.